Hello, and welcome back to Let's Play Dual Hearts. This is page 4 of Hannah's dream. It's the Demon's Castle, presumably the same guy who kidnapped her back on page 1. First thing we'll do is pick up this Tummy Up fragment because we happen to still have our draw card equipped from page 3 when we picked up those floating collectibles. Next thing's up. There's this moon panel we can't use. Check out those slots. You know what those are? They're pop-up spikes. Don't run over them, see? I told you. That'll happen, you'll die. Or at least lose 1 point of health. Unfortunate, I suppose. Secondary option if Bumble will just get under me. There we go. These same spinning platforms from back on page 3. As usual, there's a collectible at the end of them, but again, watch out for hover drops or you'll die. Not doing so great. Not really a good start, less than a minute into the video and I've already died twice. Haven't even topped off my health yet. It's a little aggravating, considering how difficult it is to get a good perspective while you're rotating, but you can take out these guys pretty easily using the Arbalest. It is a little frustrating since they spawn right on top of you while you're jumping from platform to platform, but I guess it's not so bad after the first time. I'm not sure what that spiked ball is there for. It doesn't move, and the platforms don't move relative to it, it's just there to get in your way, I guess. Anyway, that's that. I actually thought that was a Tummy Up fragment there, but it turns out it's just an Esamon that I lock onto. This ring is hard to get, considering it's right on top of the pop-up spikes. They're cute for being so deadly. This is pretty simple, but as you can imagine, we have to find the moon tile somewhere, and we'll have to probably navigate it back across a lot of these, so it's not as trivial as it looks. Let's wait for these to go down and across just to give you a vague idea of how long it takes. Check out that pyramid. Oh man, I have no idea how to do that. The first thing to do is talk to the sheep, because that's what we do in this game. We're at the castle. It's got the guy's face on it. It's a little bit difficult to tell, but those little curves are his horns. I don't know, well, you're a big help. Why don't you try ramming it? That's a brilliant idea. It's made of cardboard, that should work, right? First things first. There's a host of collectibles around here. A Tummy Up fragment in the corner, a bunch of rings. We've crossed 1,200. We're more than 80% through. Some more of these spinny platforms, and of course there's another hover drop, but since I am anticipating it after getting hit the first time, we can sort of make him spawn and then bypass him. Gold Esamon. I guess we deserve that considering it's 4 platforms instead of 3, so the first one would be Dream Energy, this one would be Gold Esamon. Goes down pretty easily too. 4 charged shots from the Arbalest. I'm looking forward to being level 4, so I can take them down in 2 when we get the attack power doubling. And there's one more collectible. God, this is freaking dizzying. It doesn't help that the clouds below the platform give you the illusion that they're moving when they're not. First, let's get this. The puzzle here is basically, do you remember what this little pyramid is, considering the game just totally forgot to put any in any of the levels we've encountered since like a third of the way through. Blow it up, it's a blast pyramid. We saw them in Florence's dream all over the place, in Parfait's dream, it's a piece of dream energy. Ignore you for now. We can see a Gold Esamon there in the distance. How do we get that? Well, you'd have no clue probably unless you were using a guide. You can lock onto a hidden platform below the cloud cover and use the Snake Fang to bring it back up to the surface. I guess you could just try everything, noticing you lock onto something and hopefully something will work. It takes quite a while and you have to position yourself very carefully, which is a common theme in this dream with the Snake Fang. There actually are Snake Fang symbols on the platform to symbolize that that's what you're supposed to use, but you'll never see them until the platform appears. Of course, you pick up the Gold Esamon. You'll notice this platform isn't actually entirely flat. You could barely see it when we had the horizontal view from the cliff we were on, which just adds to the confusion of actually trying to figure out how to get it. But, you know, whatever. I guess using guides has sort of desensitized me to the idea of actually having to try everything to solve puzzles in games and figure out how to get unusually placed objects. As usual, this does not snap back into place, so we can just leave it there. I believe that's it, so let's talk to the sheep, or at least follow his advice and ram the door to the demon's lair. Oh wait, the moon tile. You saw the bird flying over the path? He's got the moon tile in his grasp, and just like the sheep and the tile back on page 1, we have to wait for it to come with our Arbalest, and he does change directions back and forth randomly, so it's a little aggravating. I equipped both just in case. There's something really weird about the physics of trying to grab this thing with the Snake Fang that often causes it to not fall straight down when you think that you would normally be able to get it. But after 5 or 6 tries, I pick it up. Thankfully, we begin in the middle of the path instead of all the way at the end, so it doesn't really take that long to bring the moon piece back to the tile. These little spikes do take an awfully long time to retract, but nothing you haven't dealt with if you've been playing these kinds of challenges in video games before, so. Thanks, Bumble. We appreciate the moral support. Look at him go. Anyway, pretty straightforward. Goldesmon, not bad, I have to say. We're almost at 64, good old Nintendo 64, except this is a PlayStation game. Alright, so let's get prepared to fight the boss. I'm using the recommended equipment setup, which is the sword and the Snake Fang. The Snake Fang is about what you'd expect. It's pretty traditional in Zelda games to have to use the item you got in the last dungeon, much like in the dungeon itself, to also fight the boss. And that is very true here. We will get a lot of mileage out of the Snake Fang. Let's, knock knock. What could possibly go wrong? Oh snap. There he is. That's the boss, or at least a cardboard cutout interpretation of him. Of course, he's also made out of cardboard like everything else in this game. But as it turns out, we do not get direct entry into the demon's lair. Weird-looking creatures indeed. It's saying something in this game. Well, good luck. Well, thanks a lot, jerk. This is your fault. There's no back door. Anyway, these first guys are pretty easy. All they do is throw rocks at you, which you can just run around and dodge. I did have to get rid of my perfect equipment setup for the boss, which is kind of a shame. They go down from one hit. You don't even have to charge it. You can lock on pretty easily, considering they only appear one at a time, so you don't have to worry about lock on to a variety of random things all around the area. Where's that fourth guy? I believe there are 5. There's a 5th one that sort of appears after the first 4 show up. There we go. Pretty easy to do. The second part of the challenge, though, is not quite as simple. Now he unleashes the Horde. These guys go down in one hit, but there are these blue monster generators that you can see on either side that continually respawn more of them. So what we want to do is equip our absolutely perfect coverage setup, the sword and a hammer. This combo attack keeps pretty much everything at bay. We'll barely take any damage. And it gives us the added bonus of being able to hit the monster generators while we're keeping the enemies at bay. Normally you would have to use the Arbalest because remember we sequence broke and got the hammer early. The hammer is actually the prize for this dungeon. But since we have it now, we can sort of make this area a lot easier than it's supposed to be. Take care of the second one the same way. You'll notice there's a bunch of dots floating around it. I believe there are somewhere between 10 and 12. You have to hit it once for every dot, and eventually it just goes down. I do not believe that upgrading anything to level 4 makes this go any faster. It's just a pain in the butt. You also do not get additional experience for killing the respawned enemies, which is why there was a cut in the middle there, because I wanted to see if I could just level everything up to 4 right here, since there were just so many enemies. But no, we only got about 10 experience, which is still pretty good. Alright. Sounds like a plan. I mean, that's what we were going to do before we attracted the attention of every demon in his army. But in any case, back to our ideal setup. Our sword, the hammer might work too, but since the sword is at level 4 and gets the attack power doubling, I think I prefer to use that instead. I believe it does a little bit more damage to the boss. You can tell from the music this is not a particularly serious encounter. This is Deimos. I like how he has joints right where he moves. Except for his wings, I suppose. Look at his little magic wand sort of glued to his little claw. He's flat, it's like Paper Mario. Awesome, or like the K. Rool cutout from Donkey Kong 64. She looks like she's having a good time. As opposed to some of the previous bosses like Casey and the Dark Mist, this is very clearly a creation of Hannah's own imagination. She just let herself get kidnapped so that the prince could come rescue her, and oh god. That's pretty funny, actually. I think Hannah could take him. I mean, he is just cardboard, right? Look at his head spin. Oh god. He's got like a prince's ruffle or something. He's dressed awfully nice for... I don't know. I don't even know. Man, he's pissed off. Oh, there she goes. Alright, well, at least she's not kidnapped anymore, so I guess that problem solved itself, sort of. But we're trapped in the castle now with an angry cardboard demon lord, so... we have that going for us. Or against us. A little more fantastic dialogue between Stompy and Bumble. White horse. Our gallant steed. Oh man. Ice Burn, you are the insult master. We totally haven't heard that one before. His revenge, whatever. I'm always really upset when Stompy punts him in a cutscene because I feel like it deprives me of the opportunity to do it myself. Anyway, the fight is pretty straightforward, but long. Deimos will spawn randomly in one of the 3 walls not covered in fire, and you have to drag him out with the snake pen. You can do this continuously, even after he comes out of the wall. You can just do, get over here, and bring him right into your stabbing range, with whatever weapon you choose to use for this fight. He has a handful of attacks. He'll sprinkle some bombs on the floor, and he'll shoot some shuriken things when he's in the wall. He'll also summon some of these little minions. If you hit him enough, one of his arms will fall off, and it'll turn into one of those tiny little demon minion guys, which is a little creepy. And a little more, and his second arm falls off. Keep dragging him over there. Dragging him does interrupt his attack pattern, but you can only do it so many times, and eventually he does respond and fly away. You throw him into the flame wall, and he takes a little bit of damage. This is a bit of a problem I have with the game. If you may have noticed, bosses like the Snow Giant, this guy, and the Statue Knight take an awful lot of iterations of the same pattern to beat them. Deimos takes 8, which isn't quite as bad as the Statue Knight, but still is a lot longer than you would think a boss would eventually either die or change attack patterns. Some bosses do get faster. I noticed the Snow Giant, when I fought him in the arena, does get significantly faster when he gets closer to dying. But if you know the answer, it doesn't really matter, because he'll only get about 1 attack off before you finish one particular iteration and move on to the next. I'll show this a little bit more, just to show off a handful of his other attacks. Again, if you just keep dragging and slashing him, you don't even have to worry about the minions he spawns, because they'll just get caught in the half-moon radius of the sword slash eventually. I guess that guy got us. I wasn't expecting to get both of his arms in that one hit. He leaves bombs too, so you have to be a little bit careful. But it works out for the best because we just threw him, due to our recoil, into the fire anyway. So let's pretend that this game is designed correctly, and after we show this one last attack, let's just skip to the end so that we pretend that we only had to do this 4 times, as opposed to the absurdly long amount of time it actually takes. Oh, by the way, you can fall into that pit. That's a hole. I have fallen into it over the course of this fight. I chose not to put that on camera. Alright then, what did we get? Everything we get from this point on for Bumble is an upgrade, so now his dash attack has gotten stronger. This will come up in the next dungeon we needed to fight the boss. Let's pick up our spoils that we actually care about. You'll notice we're pretty close to the end of the game, and we only have 13 health. There's a good reason for that. And I'll get to that later. It has a lot to do with why I keep feeding Bumble the Black Essamons, and hopefully I'll get to show it on camera before the end of the game. And our 8th key. I know it's been a while. You might not remember that that's actually the point of the game. We haven't gotten a key since episode 19. That's a third of the length of the LP so far. Let's leave. Based on the sort of physics of the game, we actually should respawn in Meg's Dream because that's how we entered here. But to expedite matters a little bit, they'll drop us off wherever Hannah got lost. And yes, she did indeed just pass out in the forest, in the middle of one of the trees. Can't be that hard to find her, it's only 1 screen big. You'd think that someone would have just gone here and yelled or something, woken her up. Yep, she was just in that little hole that I keep trying to go into every time I pass by the tree that Lillian usually stands at. Of course, Lillian's not here for once. Girl's crazy enough as it is. Let's reunite her with her mother. Hooray! She seems to be doing well. Where the heck is the dad throughout all this? I mean, we know he's working, but I'm not sure. Oh, there he is. I'm not sure if it's dependent on what time it is when you go into the dream in the first place. Hannah disappeared. Oh, there she is. Did you try looking right in front of you, honey? Women these days. Father of the freaking year. It's awfully noble of her. I mean, she's the one who was lost. I don't understand what's going on. Wonderful. Yeah, let's get the heck out of here. You can actually go back and try to go into Spencer's dream now, since we have to gain access to both Meg and Hannah's dream now through them sleeping at night normally, as opposed to previously when we had the ability to do so since Spencer was gone now. You can actually talk to Spencer, and when he sleeps, he does not dream. So you cannot, that's their excuse for not allowing you to enter his dream. Anyway, we will now pause for some foreshadowing. Yeah, you may be surprised to know that Stompy actually has a backstory. Considering we never actually go into his dream. And yet we've learned a lot about the backstory of the other people on the island that we've been able to sort of invade their subconsciousness. Anyway, that's not going to become important until a little later. So our next goal is to return to the temple and use the 8th key. We will take care of that on the next episode of Let's Play Dual Hearts. I will see you then.